Man, welcome into the Daily Wolves podcast. I'm your host, Evan. We're here today. Another disappointing loss for the Wolves. Are we surprised? No. People are got some aggressive comments. We got one. Nobody wants to be a part of your stupid ass live after the game like this. That's what we got. One of the biggest comments coming on right here. All I can do is laugh. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's just the Timberwolves, right? I mean, all year, guys. This is the Minnesota Timberwolves. To lose it like this in this fashion, I mean, it's like an exclamation part or an exclamation point to put onto it to add to the resume of the team that we've seen this year, which is up and down and all around. There's so many parallels to the team with the Memphis Grizzlies year where we lost against the Grizzlies with Patrick Beverley, Vando, Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, where they would just, show up for the big games against these great elite teams, not show up against the bad teams, gentlemen. And then they just were up and down. Even in the playoffs, they controlled the whole series, but they end up losing. That's kind of what I see potentially like we're going towards right now. That's the kind of team we see right now. You saw it tonight with the Bucks. They're up a ton of points. They gave up a 23-0 run against the Milwaukee Bucks. No Damian Lillard, just Giannis. Giannis was playing kind of a mediocre game too at that point, but they just let the crowd get back into it. And I don't even know what to say anymore. This team's they're a good one. They're a good one. So what do you think of the game tonight, Matt? I guess I'll start with you.
Man, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. You're just kind of like, it's one of those losses, pardon my French. You're just like, what the fuck, man? Like, it, like stuff like that happens. But at this point in the season, as crucial of a game as it is to be playing as hot as you are, to let a team go on a 34-3 run and not score a field goal for 9 minutes is just flat out embarrassing. Like, you see the comments and stuff like Finch and the coaching is he going to lose the locker room? And like, I think all that's applicable, but like this game, man, you can track it back to the players. You don't make a single basket for 9 minutes of rolling time, bro. You are professionals. 9 minutes is embarrassing. That is pitiful. And at the end of the day, though, it's the NBA, man. So you can only complain so much. We had our hot run in the third quarter, and unfortunately, the Bucks got hotter. So that's all I can really say.
Yeah, it's disappointing all around. Andrew, how about you? What you got? Chiming in. I see you diving in deep to the Twitter sphere, whatever social media you're looking at, stats, you name it. How do you feeling about the game? Because we were talking about before we went live. Julius Randle, pretty rough at a certain point, plus minus. It hurts so bad that I don't even want to say it right now. But a lot of the guys, 23-0 run. You don't score for 9 minutes, like Matt says. You're 2 for 12 to start. What are you doing there? Like, how are you an NBA team? I mean, we're watching like a JV high school team out there playing in Milwaukee for a few minutes there.
I mean, to me, it's just kind of the immaturity of this team more than anything else. You look at like the play-by-plays, just breaking it down, and it's just them hucking threes, which when they were doing well in the third quarter, it's balls moving, balls getting to Dante on the hot hand, balls getting to Ant when it needs to be. Fourth quarter starts, and it was pretty, at least to me, pretty evident that people started calling their own number, started stat hunting. I want to get 30 tonight. I want to get 25 tonight. And I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the young guys. Like it's the young guys. It was Naz Reid. It was Anthony Edwards. Jaden had a great third quarter, and then they pretty much didn't pass it to him in the fourth. That's what it is to me. And there's a lot of comments about like fire Finch, all of that stuff. Like, I don't know if it's a Finch issue. I think it's a lack of leadership on the team issue. Like, to me, what is Finch supposed to do? Because I can tell you he is incredibly hard on Anthony Edwards. He is incredibly hard on these guys. He tells it like it is. He calls them out in press conferences. He is very hard on these players. But when they're up 20 and Ant's hucking threes, I mean, Finch can tell him to stop. At the end of the day, Ant's going to hook a three. At the end of the day, Naz is going to try and go for 25 or 30 or whatever he was trying to go for. And that's what I saw. Like, I just saw a team kind of go rogue. I saw a lot of players start to just call their own number because they were looking at stats, which is something Finch has talked about all season, that a lot of these players are looking at what their next contract is, what their next step. I think Julius was particularly egregious towards the end of the game too, where he's just kind of dribbling air out of the ball, making errant passes. It's just tough. And, you know, if there is a bright spot to this, I mean, we now kind of know where this team is going to be. It's going to be the 6 or 7 seed. That's kind of it. They're going to be playing either the Lakers or Houston. That's kind of it. They can't lose another game because it's hard to say you trust this team in a 1-game play-in situation if they fall to 8 and can't take care of the 7-8 matchup. But to me, that's what it was. It was a lot more of just front running, which unfortunately this team has a tendency to do that. That's why they don't wake up for bad teams. And we've seen it all season where this team doesn't wake up for bad teams. Just like tonight, the fourth quarter, they thought it was over and they started just front running. And you can't do that. You can't do that in the NBA. You can't do it against a team with Giannis. The Bucks are a playoff team, like 4 or 5 seed in the East. You can't do it against the Bucks. That's kind of my analysis. I find less blame I find on Finch though. Like, yeah, I don't think it's a sign that he lost the locker room. I really think it's just a sign of how immature this team is.
No, I agree. I don't think it's Chris Finch either. I think like it's easy to blame the coach. It's easy to blame Finch. I mean, we saw today Mike Malone dismissed by the Denver Nuggets. Taylor Jenkins not that long ago. Chris Finch, is he in the boiling seat? Maybe probably not this year, but I mean, all these firings from coaches, they've came out of nowhere. You got to think about that. It's got to be in the back of the head no matter what. But I think, yeah, Chris isn't drawing up these plays. This isn't when he's preaching in the timeouts, guys. These players are doing what they want to do. And unfortunately, you got to live with the good and the bad of Anthony Edwards. Tonight, you saw it again. He started chucking up threes, 10 for 27. What are we doing there?
Yep.
3 for 8 for Julius. What are we doing? What do you think of the shot selection, Matt?
Well, you know, you kind of just said it right there. Like, I feel like Ant, like he kind of struggled to, start out the game as well. But I feel like in the middle of the game, he kind of did finally like get it going. We kind of hit that hot streak there towards like the middle and end of the third. But, you know, like the numbers don't lie. Ant had a terribly piss poor, inefficient game. And it's one of those games that I don't want to say he fully shot us out of, but it is definitely one of the reasons that we are in the situation that we're in. And like you said, it's one of the highs and the lows of having a young 23-year-old, slightly mature, depending on the day, superstar. So it's what you get, man. I don't really know what else to say still. Kind of still just like, what the hell?
There's a comment from Haha, shout out Haha, that says bench Ant and Randall in the fourth from now on. Honestly, if there is a critique I have on Finch, that's what he should have done. When this started going pear-shaped, get Dante and Nas back in there. That being said, Nas was also a culprit. So maybe it's get Dante and Nikhil and play extra small. But if there's a Finch like critique that I have, it's that. Like you see Ant chucking shots, you see Randall isn't as engaged as he was. Get him out of there. Like put in guys that are really trying to like make an impact. We know Dante is going to be a gamer. We know Nikhil is going to be a gamer. Nas usually is awesome. Tonight, he had a couple weird shot decisions, but I mean, again, to Matt's point, this is the pains of having your like bread and butter leader as a 23-year-old. It just, when he loses interest, the team's going to lose interest. And unfortunately, that's what it seemed like happened tonight.
It's really tough, boys, because you look at the end of you look at the whole season and these losses. I mean, again, the Bucks earlier in the year, no Giannis, no Dame, they lost. Pacers game, Wizards game. We could keep doing this every single time. It's one of the reasons why, even though we won 5 games, I wasn't on board with it. It's one of the reasons why I picked Minnesota to potentially finish in the 7th still, and I kind of stick with my gut, which is weird because it's probably going to come back to haunt me because they're more likely to probably finish 6th and 7th. But like I literally was preaching. I was like, they're going to lose. They're going to lose against the Bucks or Memphis. They're going to lose one of the games coming up here. And I didn't know which one. Sure enough, they lose tonight. You're playing for the whole season and this Thursday. I mean, it's the whole season for like, are you a play-in team or are you a playoff team? Because you have to win that game. If you lose, stamp it in. They're a play-in team. Barring some miracle, that's just how it is. There's just only 3 games left. It is what it is. You have to beat Memphis. It's the biggest game of the year. Then you get Brooklyn on a back-to-back, which you think's easy. But the Timberwolves,
you never know,
they're
man.
just not. They don't take that route. It's a back-to-back. They're at home. The family's around. Call of Duty's calling. Your kid's crying at 2 a.m. in the morning because you decided to all have kids and plan it out at the same time, which is just insane. Not actually, but just conveniently, they all have newborns at the
Evan's
same time.
Petty.
I'm just gonna roast Minnesota for what they are for everyone watching. The family's there. You gotta get you know what I mean? Maybe have a cocktail.
I mean, it becomes
some fun.
It becomes harder. Like
yeah, it becomes
they
harder,
don't have the tiebreaker with Golden State. They don't have the tiebreaker with Memphis.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 teams you're competing with.
I feel
it
like
becomes monumentally harder.
If you somehow do fall into this, like the 7-8, and you fall into that play-in range, though, to your point earlier when you said it's kind of like it's looking like it's Golden State, it's Los Angeles or it's Houston. Mm-hmm. And if you do get through the play-in, the bright side is we do look like a good team against Houston. The young, inexperienced teams, like I know we're all on the emotional low right now. We're pissed off, but I don't know. I'm trying to not do that as much. But so I'm trying to find the good in this. But say you draw a playoff matchup against Houston, right? You have young guys who are inexperienced outside of like a Fred VanVleet and a Dylan Brooks. Outside of those guys, it's 3rd-year players. It's 2nd-year players who are mainly your core guys. So maybe we do have an advantage in a situation like that. Because I know I sure as hell don't want to see Luka again. I still have nightmares about him in the Western Conference. Playoff LeBron is a different story. Austin Reeves is playing like a top 10 player in basketball. So like at this point, I feel like it's just in our best interest if we can somehow, obviously you don't want to fall into the play-in, but I would much rather see Houston versus the Lakers in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. I think the Lakers, I posted that they're the worst possible matchup for the Timberwolves. We saw a preview of that last year when the Timberwolves faced against the Mavericks and they could not stop Luka Doncic. Yes, I know Kyrie Irving was there and it was tough to stop Kyrie and them as a pairing, but really at the end of the day, I felt like it was more Luka than Kyrie, even though Kyrie obviously did play good. It's still Kyrie. Luka takes his game to like that level where he's, Kyrie might average 24, 26 against us in the playoffs. Luka takes it to the 32 to 38 range. And I think that's the difference. Plus, Luka's averaging like a triple-double against the Wolves and those points. I mean, they just have no answer how to guard Luka. And he's so confident. He's going to come in knowing he's played us last year. He eliminated us, getting him on his high horse. He wants to prove to the Dallas Mavericks that it was a mistake that you traded him. He wants to prove to the NBA. Playing with that is not what I want to go against, especially with Reeves, like you said, Matt. And then you're adding in LeBron James. I mean, how many times can people doubt Tom Brady, LeBron James in the playoffs? These guys, these GOATs, these old veterans that when the time is needed, they will turn it up. They will put their body through it, and they will look like they're, young Miami Heat LeBron again out of nowhere. I mean, I watched LeBron James come back against the Warriors down, 3-1? Like one of the most historic comebacks I've ever witnessed a player doing. I would not doubt I cannot doubt LeBron James ever. Just like I would when Tom Brady was down against the Atlanta Falcons in that playoff or that Super Bowl game, 28-3, but it's Tom Brady. And then they come back and they win. How can you doubt LeBron James? And so it's just one of the things. I think the Lakers are the absolute worst matchup. That's where we're headed. We'll see. I mean, last year, I will say this, the silver lining, someone did point out to me, last year we were all panicking about the Phoenix Suns guys in the first round. We were matched up against them.
That's what I was thinking.
4-0'd them. So, I think, obviously the Lakers are a worse matchup, but I will say this. I will hold on to that silver lining. We will try to reach you in the middle as best we can. Maybe they'll do what the Suns did. Maybe they'll come out on top. I don't know. But for right now, this team is, they're just a weird team. They're just a weird team, Andrew. They're so inconsistent, man. And also the Suns, while we're recording this, they're about to, or they actually already tipped off against the Phoenix Suns. So we need Devin Booker to have like a historic laying on the floor bubble type game tonight, because no Kevin Durant. Please beat the Warriors and please help us out. Good Lord.
I mean, at some point the team just is what it is. And Finch, before they went on this road trip, was talking about, how this team just doesn't have these motivation to wake up for certain games like this. I mean, the players acknowledge it. Finch talks about it. And again, to me, it's really a product of you don't have Cat. Like, if we're going to boil it down to one thing, like Karl Anthony Towns had a lot of issues in his play style. I mean, the whining drove people nuts. He, to his credit, though, always showed up. He was always mentally prepared. He was always at the game, playing with high energy. He might lose his cool in the second quarter, but it's not going to be like for a lack of trying. And this Wolves team is just interesting because Julius Randle is a good dude. Like, every time I've talked to him, it's a good interaction. I think that says something about him, but he's not a vocal leader. Dante DiVincenzo, same thing. He's a really good dude, but he's not a super vocal guy unless it's to the other team. Jaden doesn't really talk a whole lot. Nas is pretty quiet. So then you got Mike, who is kind of the spiritual leader of this team, but he's just, he's 37 years old. He can only play 20 minutes a game. Then you have Rudy and Ant. And Rudy's kind of the same way as everyone else. He's just not a very vocal leader. He's more of a lead by example, show up in shape, play with high energy. So then it falls on Ant to be the guy that is rallying the troops as literally the bottom is falling out tonight. And he's 23 years old. Like, I've made the joke before on this pod, like, I was busy flunking out of business school when I was 23. Like, it's not something that a 23-year-old typically can handle. Like, that type of emotional intelligence, leadership, everything. If there's a bright side, this is a learning experience. This is something where Finch, Chris Hine, all of the guys back in the locker room are going to be able to show him, like, this is why we lost. Like, this attitude, this effort, these threes, rushing shots in the shot clock, not getting teammates involved. Jaden was having an awesome game and then sealing him out of the game. Like, this is why we lost. Like, you need to get better in the leadership category. But this is who this team is. I would say it's just as likely that they go out and beat the Rockets in 6 games or upset the Lakers as it is for them to get swept in the first round. Like, I don't think there's anything in between. This is just where it is. There's high highs and there's low lows.
I feel like, too, to your point with like the whole leadership thing too, I feel like most people don't realize too how much you miss a Kyle Anderson right now too. I feel like Kyle last year was our glue guy. You always heard him in post-game interviews. Teammates are always praising him. Like, you miss Kyle in these situations. And then, kind of like you said, Andrew, if there is a positive we can take away from this, Anthony Edwards is a very, very coachable player. He learns from things. And this season too, like you said, he gets a full season in Minnesota. The Wolves can tell him what to do. He gets a full offseason with Chris Hines. We haven't had that in 3 years. So, to your point, I think that this next season, we're really going to start to see Ant enter, his prime. Like, that's what we're going to see. He's going to start to be smarter. He has the first year of seeing this is what it's like to be a leader in the NBA. Here's what I can do. Here's what I can't do. I would almost call this season kind of like a trial run at that, if you must. But I feel like, there's positive takeaways. Obviously, it's underwhelming, just not from going one of the clutchest teams in the NBA to seemingly getting into crunch time and wanting to flick off your TV. It sucks. It's not ideal, but it's part of growing pains. It's what happens in the league.
I mean,
the other thing I'd add on that is just, like, last season, I think the reason Kyle Anderson was so important is because he played. Like Kyle Anderson gave you 25 minutes a night.
Facts.
This season, a lot of the like behind the scenes talking is that Joe Ingles is that guy. That Joe Ingles is the guy that holds people accountable, cusses them out. He doesn't play. And anyone who's played pickup, anyone who's played organized basketball, if the guy on the sideline is yelling at you, you just don't listen to him as well. And Joe Ingles is awesome. He's an awesome human being. He's had an amazing career. But there's just something to be said when you're like the people that are holding you accountable are Chris Finch, Joe Ingles, and like to some extent Mike Conley. That's just tough to reel in an Ant who thinks that he can just knock in a three and stop a run. It's just going to be a growing pain for this team.
100%. I got one comment coming up here I want to point out to you guys real quick. It's do we think we're going to win Thursday? Before we get into that, we're going to snip it up real quick with our unfortunate ad read for you guys. What's up, Minnesota fans? Many of you know that I help fans get tickets into games, and now I'm giving you an opportunity to get tickets to any sporting event you want, not just basketball. We're talking football. We're talking hockey. We're talking soccer, man. Any sporting event that's in town, or maybe it's a concert. All you have to do is use my promo code, The Daily Wolves, all caps, on SeatGeek. That's right. I've partnered with the SeatGeek app. You can download it on iOS or Android devices. You can find it on your web browser at SeatGeek.com. Check it out today. Enter my promo code, The Daily Wolves, and get $20 off your first order. We're back. Do we think, gentlemen, we can win this Thursday against the Milwaukee Bucks? Let's just take our votes one by one. Andrew, I'll start with you. Is Minnesota winning on Thursday, and why do they win Thursday if they do win?
Yes, because that's what this team does. Like every time there's a heartbreak, they come back and win people back over. I'd say like 98% confident they'll win on Thursday. Also, the Grizzlies are like equally a mess, which, you know, Ant wakes up for Ja. I think they'll win it.
Yeah,
okay, Matt, what about you?
I'm in the same boat as Andrew.
Yeah.
The Ja comparisons. Ant has just outplayed Ja every time. Well, I guess they didn't play much last season, but this season he's outplayed Ja when they've played. You lose a starter tonight, probably for the season. Jalen Wells broke his wrist, got stretchered off. Thankfully, he's okay. But yeah, the Grizzlies, they're in some dysfunction. I'm not saying that they're not an individually talented have individually talented players on a good team. I don't know. I think they're a little bit more of a mess, and I think that they have a little bit more to worry about than we do. So yeah, I think we'll get this one done.
I like it. I'm also going to take Minnesota this Thursday to beat Memphis. It's on the road. Minnesota plays better on the road. Yes, I know they lost on the road tonight in Milwaukee, but I think they're going to rebound. This team, again, what Andrew, your point is, they always do it. They always rebound. They're just the Wolves. They're inconsistent. They're up and down. They're all around. And they're going to pull the slot machine lever, and it's going to land on a W this Thursday. I think it's still going to be quite a game. We know how it's going to go. It's going to go into clutch time again, since this team is the number one clutch team in the NBA this season. They like to – you can't just win easy. It's got to go down to the wire. It's going to come down to Ja and Ant. If Ant's hitting his threes, they win. If he's pulling miracle threes like Philly, maybe they got a chance. We'll see. But it should be fun. It's always fireworks between the two teams. And it's going to be just a fun game nonetheless. I think like it's weird because it's rare that in the NBA you get a regular season game that's a playoff game. It already is a playoff game. Mm-hmm. And it's not just the game one in the playoffs. This is either a play-in game where it's like elimination if you don't make it, or you could say this is pretty much a game 7. It's pretty much going to go down to that. It's who wants to get into the playoffs. Do the Grizzlies want it more than Minnesota? Or does Minnesota want it more? Prove it. Get it on the court. Come home against Brooklyn. Maybe relax a little bit. I don't want to say that too much, but just, come home. You have the last 2 games at home, and it's so big if you can get that 6th seed, because you're going to get that additional rest time before the playoffs. We've heard it with Mike and his wrist. Guys, he's banged up this year. We've heard it. We have other veterans on the team that are older, like Rudy Gobert. These guys need a break. They need a little bit of rest. Ant's a little bit banged up on his hand. How nice would it be to get a little bit of time off on your body? That's how big. That's what's up for it. Also, guys, we are partnered with Better, the best sports betting app out there. I know Matt, he's going to take this one away for us. We got another ad read, unfortunately, for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Today's show is also brought to you by Better, the sports betting app brought to you by Jake Paul. Sign up with our code, the Daily SPN, to get a deposit match up to $200, meaning if you deposit.
Well,
Oh, Matt, I guess you
ad read
went off.
disappeared for
The
some
ad read
reason,
went off,
but
I'll take
use
it
our
away. I
daily,
got
use
you.
our code, the Daily SPN, one word, $200 deposit match. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there, but Andrew, you wanted to make one more point on this.
Yes. So Chris Finch being on the hot seat. Like, I think this season he's safe. Like, he's not going to get fired tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If next season around the All-Star break or mid-season, the team is still kind of in the same thing, I think he has every right to be on the hot seat. What I'd say what's different with the Mike Malone and, gosh, why am I forgetting his name? Grizzlies
Taylor
coach.
Jenkins.
Taylor Jenkins. What I think I would say
Taylor
that's
Gang.
the difference with that is Taylor Jenkins, now that some reporting has come out, completely lost the locker room. Ja Morant didn't really agree or see eye to eye with him. He had his entire offensive staff, his entire assistant coaching staff fired this last offseason, and he was just a lame duck, like, excuse if something went wrong. Honestly, like, it seems like it's kind of the same thing in Denver. There's already stuff coming out through like Denver media that is saying that Michael Malone didn't hold Jamal Murray and Jokic as accountable as other players. Apparently, there was a lot of issues between the front office and Mike Malone about paying players who they wanted to keep, scouting, who they drafted. It just seems like it was a mess over there. And 4 days ago, he came out publicly and said these guys don't watch film. There's guys that don't pay attention. There's guys that don't really care. I think that's why he got fired. Management is probably looking, or ownership is looking for a reason to get him out of there. It's a disaster with like how the team has fallen. Finch, to me, isn't at that level. Like, the team still unanimously speaks highly of him. All of the reporters, from John Krasinski down to myself, have no inkling that he would get fired. The other thing is, he hasn't lost the locker room. Like, they legitimately believe in him. They legitimately vouch for him. Now, if they get bounced in the first round and they start off 10-15 next year, 100%, like, he's going to be out of here. But like, one of the things Finch has that this team, like, unprompted brings up is how he treats everyone on the team the same. He gets after Ant just as hard as he gets after Rob, just as hard as he gets after the G League guys. That means stuff to players. I mean, if you're Jalen Clark and you're seeing him rip Ant apart for like off-ball defense, it just makes you feel like you're equal. The other thing is Finch just, again, like, there's no rumblings that he's going to get fired. I think with Jenkins and Malone, there was just kind of these weird situations where weird press conferences would happen. Jenkins getting his staff fired before the year. Just like weird breadcrumbs that now we can look back at and be like, oh, that's weird. There's just nothing like that with Finch, which I know some fans really want him gone, but unfortunately for the fans that want him gone, like, the team still believes in him.
It's tough because I hear that and then I'm like, I'm kind of on board with you guys, but I'm also like, from the fan perspective, where we're all at, it's tough because like I didn't hear it a lick. Like when we had Adam on, Adam's had great things to say about Denver. Everyone's had great things to say for people who are familiar with the organization. And then it comes out afterwards. That's always how it works. It's quiet, but it comes out afterwards, and it's not let out for a reason, right? It's like a business. You don't let that stuff go out from your upper management down. So I'm wondering if Finch were to get fired, if there was things we didn't know, Andrew, if there was things that weren't leaked to you guys or hidden from you guys because they didn't want you guys to put it out. I'm not saying that's true, but that's just like my little pushback onto that is, okay, well, if Finch were to get let go ever, let's just say, I mean, let's be honest, some stuff has got to come out, right?
I think my pushback on the Denver side of that is Michael Malone really since last season, or no, really since the season before, there's just been kind of rumblings of him not seeing eye to eye with management, which is weird because they fired their GM too. So like they cleaned house today, but like he wanted Bruce Brown back. Organization decided, no, we're not going into the luxury tax. Get Bruce Brown out of here. He reportedly wanted KCP back. Management was like, no, we're not going into the apron. Get him out of here. I mean, I typed it up on a tweet earlier today, but like they've lost 2 of their 6 rotation players every year for the past 3 seasons. I think there's just things that like you can look at as breadcrumbs post. Like if Finch gets fired, I think there will be some things that come out of like people that didn't get along with him or rubbed him the wrong way. But I don't think there's those breadcrumbs yet of like him and Tim Connolly butting heads or Alex Rodriguez getting frustrated with him.
No, I hear you. I guess we'll just, time will tell. This season will tell what happens to the Wolves. The first steps, you make it to the play-in or playoffs, and you got to win. You got to make it to the playoffs. You can't get eliminated in the play-in, and you got to, you can't be a first-round exit team. If you do that, there's going to be changes. We've talked about it before. There's guys, like Kevin Durant, other players out there. There's the Detroit first pick that now conveyed to you. Shout out to Tim Connolly for getting that trade. And let's not forget that second-round pick from the trade with, what was it, for D'Angelo Russell, right? The second-round pick, that's like a high second-round pick. That comes to us this year. It's like
Utah's second.
31. Utah, and it's like a
Utah's
high. It's
second.
almost the first round.
Yeah,
it's almost a first round, right? So
Yeah.
basically, like you almost have, in a way, weirdly, almost 2 first-round picks, a tradable contract, and Julius Randle. Just saying, you want him to opt in, and then you just so happen to have young guys like Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon Jr., Rob Dillingham. We're not saying, Josh Minot, Leonard Miller. We're not saying which one. We're just saying they have packages that are appealing. And the trade or things will happen if Minnesota doesn't figure some stuff out. That's just how it goes. We're the Daily Wolves courtside. It's been awesome having you guys on here. We have 3,700 people live in here, which is pretty awesome. Shout out to everyone for joining. We appreciate you guys all. If you're watching and you actually, if you're watching and you're a company, it don't matter which company, if you're, local in Minnesota, or maybe you're a national brand.
Any company.
We're looking for sponsors always. We actually have a few spots open right now that are opening up. You can just direct message us at the Daily Wolves on X, and we can hopefully set something up. The playoffs are coming up. We'd love to have some more sponsors. We'd love to see kind of where things can go. And we got some big surprises coming up in the next weeks. I'm not going to say exactly what. There might be some special guests. There might be giveaways. You never really know. There might be even events coming up here. That's just always how we roll with the Daily Wolves courtside. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials, guys. We appreciate, again, everyone for joining in. And until next time, as always, go Wolves.
Go Wolves.